everybody. Look who I have. I have the cool Crone on tap today. We're very lucky she came back to see us again. So,
Yay, I'm here. Oh, so nice to be here. Thank you for having me, Shari.
you're welcome. Thank you for coming on. I watched you with Mel last night. That was a lot of fun. I missed the live. I had to catch it in replay, but that was a lot of fun. He's an absolute sweetie.
Yeah,
And
he is. He was.
sorry we were running a few minutes late. We started yakking and I lost track of time.
Well, that's the darn thing. If you go on other people's channels and everybody gets to be friends, you're just bejabbering when you get
Yep,
in.
that's it. Well, welcome y'all. Thank you for coming. We're gonna do basically just a political show today. So political questions, if you have any, please put them in the chat in all caps so I can see them. And otherwise I miss them. And Colleen has done the astrological charts of Presidents Biden and Zelensky. And she's going to go over her findings with that.
Yeah.
And so that ought to give us some happy news, I'm hoping. And
I think so.
do you want to do charts first and questions second, or
Yeah, let me.
how you want to do it? You're the guest.
There's a lot of info there, and I can share my screen, right? I can share.
Sure, you should be able to.
Let me give this a try here. Share screen. Yep, I sure can. Okay. So let me first, before I do this, let me get that thing up. Let me start with Papa Joe here. I call him Papa Joe. It's so funny. My daughters called their grandfather Papa Joe. So there you go. So I don't know how this is going to work here.
Well, if nothing else, if it won't share screen on yours, shoot it to me in an email real quick.
Okay.
And I'll share it.
Are you seeing it on the screen?
Let me add it. There we go.
Okay. So, okay. And my face is gone, right?
Well, you're under me. We're off to the side.
Well, we are. Okay. Because Kitty, you're in my way, but I'll just lean my notebook against your back. Okay. So Joe Biden, this is his chart. And the little glyphs around the outside in green, these are the planets as they are now. Like here's Pluto getting ready to just squeeze into Aquarius. That's going to happen on the 23rd of this month. And what else can I point out to you? Here's the little Saturn guy. He's traveling with Mercury here. Mercury's already entered the sign of Pisces, which is why people are getting more dreamy and imaginative, and like me and Shari just now, our conversation was just kind of meandering off into another world.
Yep.
Mercury's in Pisces and it's so easy to do. Plus we happen to be talking about medication, which is ruled by Pisces, and we have Saturn here that's in the very last, just like Pluto's in the very last Capricorn, Saturn's in the very, very last of couple of minutes of Aquarius, and on the 7th, which is the same day as the full moon, he's going to bust up into Pisces, which is really, really different. Now, if you don't know, Saturn moves pretty slowly. It takes Saturn almost somewhere between 28 and a half and 30 years to get through all the signs of the zodiac. So we haven't had Saturn here in Pisces for 30 years. So think back to where you were 30 years ago. I'm trying to think. Where the heck was I?
Oh, I was working and going to school and raising the family, and
I had
busy.
Yeah, I had my first child. She was very young. She was let's see, she would have been just a year old or something. So we were in the process of moving from one disaster house to a fairly nice house, but a house that also needed to be renovated like our disaster house. So we were up to our eyeballs like this with stuff going on. So Papa Joe, let's talk about him. Now, when you look at somebody's chart and you want to see what's going on, there's a technique called perfection, not perfection, but perfection. And that just is the study of how the emphasis of your life goes year by year by year. So you go by the rising sign, and this year happens to be a 10th house perfection for Joe, which means that his career, his legacy, and because he's the president, his standing as president is really his focal point this year. And I don't know if any of you watch Susan Lin, but one of the things that she had said about Joe Biden, which I think is really true, is that he has this sense of urgency about what he's doing right now. He
Yeah.
he so badly wants to get all these things done because he doesn't take for granted that he will have a second term. Or even if he had a second term, that he would be able to finish it. He doesn't take this for granted. The man is, how old is he? 81. And it's not like he's going to keel over tomorrow or anything like that. It's just that at that age, and I know even just for me, and I'm just in my 60s, you just don't take things for granted. You just know that
No, you don't.
things are going to change in life. And what you think of as, oh, it's always going to be that way, someday it ain't going to be that way. So you got to be ready to move. And Joe is ready to move. He's a Scorpio. He's very intuitive. He's very, I think, empathic, because people have described that he is able to speak to people in such a way that he just kind of feels what they need to hear and he gives it to them. He's real good at that. So anyway, so his whole focus this year is his career, his legacy, what he's getting done. But he also never forgets that he's doing this for the people. He never forgets that. Now he has, if we look down here in the chart, you probably can't read it, but there's some writing here in lavender right next to the red arrow, which is his rising sign, Sagittarius. These little letters in purple, they're sideways. Actually, they're going straight up and down. It's ANT. It stands for Antares, which is a fixed star. Now, it's pretty unusual to have a fixed star in your first house. Not because the fixed stars are unusual, they're everywhere. But for him, it's so close to his rising sign that it really has come to represent him. That and this little thing, it looks like a little dandelion head. This is the symbol for the asteroid Juno. Now, Juno represents your partner, who is your perfect partner, what you look for in a perfect partner. And it's in the sign of Sagittarius. So this is somebody who is going to look for a partner and partnership and even friendships, probably, that they really can commit to, that they can really be solidly committed. And I think he feels this way also about the American people. He's very, very committed. He's sort of married to that idea. The guy has been in public service for what, like 60 years or something? I mean,
something like that. Yeah, since he was in his
late 20s.
Yeah.
So late 20s, and so over 50 years in public service. And so we take that idea of Juno, and Juno is the representative of I think she was I want to say one of Zeus's wife, but I don't think that's right. I think that was Hera. But Juno represents marriage, a marriage partner, a commitment, a union, a partnership. So he's all about that. And Terry's is something quite different. And Terry's in the first house means that you are destined for some kind of like honor, specifically like a military honor or even a clergy honor, but some position of not just power and authority, but honor. And I think honor is a big thing with him too. He has very, very good understanding of the human condition. He has a keen memory. He has a lot of power and drive. And this Antares, this star, gives someone who can use their lifetime to take advantage of the power of Antares. They can drive. It says that the ancients said that he has the power to drive away evil spirits and bind them. And when I read that, I went, hooray! That's exactly what we need. So he is.
Well, he kind of has done that with 45.
Yes, he is absolutely what we need. I mean, there's lots more stuff I could read about to you about Antares, but I'll just move on. So going through his chart and just looking at the big overall what the planets are doing, Mars is transiting his 7th house right now. It just crossed over his natal Saturn. This is Saturn when he was born, and this Saturn is the one right now that's moving across his chart. And this Mars just came across the Saturn in his 7th house. Well, what just happened to him? He had a little dust up with the whole thing about the documents and everything like that.
Yeah.
So Mars is aggression and war and fighting and knives and stuff like that, sharp things. And so you're not surprised when you hear that. They're kind of like, yeah, okay, stuff's happening. But more importantly, I think the Mars going over the Saturn had more to do with his connection with the Ukraine, because Ukraine is in a war. And the 7th house represents your partners. And I think he has taken on Zelensky as a partner, as an equal. And so Saturn is representing that age difference, he being the very elder statesman, and Zelensky being the younger. And Mars going across there, also Mars would represent the youth of Zelensky, the power of Zelensky, and the wartime situation that Zelensky finds himself in. And Saturn literally is Joe. And I think that Saturn coming across, or Mars, coming across that Saturn is his episode with going to Ukraine. A little bit. There's more stuff that talks about that too. So he had the documents debacle, but he also had the secret trip to Ukraine. And there's more planets that talk about secrets in a minute. And also he's aggressively working with partners. He's not backing down when the Congress is saying, well, we don't really think you should do that. And he's just like, oh, no, you want the world to go to hell in a handbasket? Fine. But I'm doing this because I'm helping to save people.
Right.
Now, Uranus, this is Uranus, the little thing that looks like a TV antenna here. Boy, do people even know what a TV antenna is anymore?
Probably not, unless they're our age.
Leave it in the comments.
I'm in my 60s too.
If you don't know what that is, leave it in the comments. I'd love to know who doesn't know what that is. But anyway,
yeah.
So this transiting Uranus will approach his natal Uranus. Here's his natal Uranus. Now that typically happens for someone when they're 84, right around the age of 84. So 83 to 85, somewhere around there. And this is another big awakening in life. And I'm sure he's going to get there. I'm sure he's feeling it already. It is usually a stronger connection to the spiritual at that time of your life, if you're lucky enough to make it there. And he's going to have that come exact in 2026. So I don't know if that'll cause him to make any big decisions or not, but near the end of April 2026 is when that's going to be exact. Now, Pluto is, every single person on the planet has been feeling Pluto. Mine's been in my first and second houses for the last 20 years. This one, he's got it in his second house. So I'm sure that moving big sums of money in his life has been happening in his life. And that's something that Congress keeps yapping about, that, there must be some sort of money thing going on with the Bidens. Well, there's a lot of money things going on with the Bidens. I don't know if any of them are corrupt or underhanded, but there are. He's had Pluto there in the second house for almost 20 years.
He's also got a very large family.
Yes.
With a lot of people doing a lot of things.
That's right.
Grandkids in school still. And
that's right. I'm sure he's helping all of them. Now, Pluto is going to be moving here. When it moves at the end of March into Aquarius, you're going to see him starting to switch his focus from the money stuff and the using his talents to do other things that are tangible, in moving more into concepts and ideas and communication, lots more communication, and his thinking is going to evolve on a number of different subjects. He's a very progressive thinker. He's got Aquarius in the third house, and he's got some planets there that just make him a very progressive thinker. So you're going to see a switch after Pluto goes into Aquarius. You're going to see a change in the way he's communicating. Now let's see. Saturn, as it makes its move, will still be in the third house, but this means that ever since Saturn has been in mid Aquarius and in his third house, he's been very just chock full and ready to go with so many workable, very concrete ideas. And he has put them into action because we've gotten a lot of stuff done. So he's got just tons of ideas and he's able to work on them. Now, currently, the sun is opposing his midheaven. Midheaven is the pinnacle of your career, the pinnacle of your legacy. And he's also got Neptune down here. And this is where we find the criticism, the delusion, the misdirection, the distraction by mainly Republicans, making things up, trying to create, scandals that aren't really there. All that stuff, that's all coming from Neptune, along with this Mars, because Mars is actually in a harsh angle to both the Neptune and suns coming into it and his midheaven. So he's going to continue to have, doubters and detractors and people, but he's used to that. He's been in public life for a very, very long time. Soon, now he's got Jupiter and Venus in his fourth house going into his fifth house. So his family life is going to continue to be important, but he's also going to find that his family life becomes more fun. Things lighten up. It isn't so heavy for him. So I think the things with his son, with Hunter Biden, I think some of those things are going to relax after, I'm going to say April. I'm going to give it till April for that to relax. Now, he had, now there was one thing about the eclipses. Yes. So when does that hit? 25 degrees of Scorpio. Oh, here it is. Okay. Now, there was an eclipse I want to say it was the November eclipse. No, it was last year. It was last May. And it really hit a bunch of his personal planets. It hit his sun, it hit his Venus, and it hit his Jupiter. So when planets come back around to the eclipse point, that's usually when the event that the eclipse described happens. And that's going to come about end of March into April of 2025. So not this year, 2 years from now. He's going to have something big happen because of that eclipse. But Neptune is going to hit that 25 degree this year at the end of March. So he is going to have something go on that is deceptive, illusory, or spiritual, or lies, or distracting, or all of it at the end of March, which I'm sure surprises no one.
Quick question. Let me interrupt you. Someone in chat, Cheryl, was wanting to know if you had done a chart on Trudeau.
No, but I could.
Okay. So, check back with Colleen on her channel. Her link is below in the description box, Cheryl. And then that way, maybe she can do it up on her show when she does her charts, her astrological stuff. Sure. I'm not sure if you just intersperse them with your regular shows, or because I know you do some shows that are like mostly astrological, and that you do some shows that are mostly political. So,
well, that's what my polytarology show is all about. It's combining all of it. It's tarot,
combining all of it. Okay,
politics, everything. So, yeah, I could certainly devote a Friday night to Justin Trudeau.
Cool. Yeah, and I'll be her guest in a couple of weeks. I don't remember which date now, but
St. Patrick's Day.
St. Patrick's Day. That's right, because I was talking about we can dress up.
Yeah, St. Patrick's Day. Absolutely.
I never bothered doing that stuff before I went on YouTube, and now I'm like, oh, I got to go get something to wear for that.
All right, so that's Joe, and that's what's going on with him, and interesting. So now I wonder, do I have to go back and share a different screen? I think I do. Okay, so let me go back here and let me, let's see, how do I stop this?
Oh, you want me to remove it? Oh, there we go. Okay.
I'm good.
Now when you share the second one, I'll just have to add it.
Yeah, so let me find the second one. I think yeah, okay, there it is.
Oh, and they're asking, have you ever done a chart on Texas Governor Abbott?
No, and I'm not sure that anybody has his birth time, but I'll write down his name and I'll take a look at it. I'll be happy to look at it.
Okay, and then y'all just check back in with her with Colleen on her channel, the Cool Crone. Um, she does astrological and the political, and
And
if
has a
she's getting
time.
ready to do something like that, I'm sure she probably announces who she's going to cover if it's like a
Yeah.
major reveal.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. Whoops, what did I do here? I got everything off the screen. Okay. All right. So Volodymyr Zelensky. Well, I pulled up his chart and I looked at all of his stuff and I thought, now what is it that these two have in common? Well, one, Joe has Sagittarius rising. You notice where it says DC here? That stands for the word descendant, meaning it was the sign descending at the time that he was born. Now,
okay, did you share screen on that other one?
oh, did I? Or
No, it hasn't come up yet.
oh, it hasn't come up yet? Oh, I'm sorry.
That's
I,
okay.
I thought I did. Okay, let me go back.
Sorry, y'all. Technical difficulties.
How's that? Is that still Joe Biden?
There we go. Is that still Joe?
Yeah. Okay, never mind.
Yeah, that's still Joe. Okay.
Can I switch? Can I just switch? Do you see a switch now?
Let's see. That still says Joe.
Okay. So I have to go back. I'm learning something here. Sorry, guys.
That's okay.
Present, share screen. Well, I'm doing the second one, and that should be him. No, shoot. Okay, you know what? Hang on.
Well, we're getting Joe again.
Yeah, hang on. I'll get it. I can do this.
Okay.
Stop. Present. Share screen. I know it's easier with two monitors.
Oh, thanks, Cheryl. I'll be sure and give her that information. She
okay,
put
now is it Zelensky?
Oh, let's see what we got now. Zelensky, yay!
Okay. All right. So this is the chart for Volodymyr Zelensky. And as I started looking at the charts, I wanted to see what they had in common. So Zelensky has Gemini rising. AC stands for ascendant or rising, and DC stands for descendant or descending. And Joe has a Sagittarius rising, which is the exact opposite sign of Zelensky, who has Gemini rising. But very often, signs that are opposite get along really well. They share what is called a modality. They're both mutable signs, but they're different elements. So Sag is a fire sign, Gemini is an air sign. We all know that fire needs air in order to burn. So that's them just getting on literally like a house on fire.
Yeah, I'm a Gemini sun, an Aquarius moon, and an Aries rising.
So you got air, and fire. So you also, when you get going, you get going.
Yeah, that's very true.
You really get going. So Zelensky, interesting, this Mars that was sort of bedeviling Biden in his 7th house is right on top of Zelensky's rising sign right now. So this is giving him tremendous energy. This is good for somebody who's at a time of war. This gives him confidence and strength, endurance. He can go, probably doesn't sleep at all right now. He's just really got mojo going on. He's just really happening with that. It also can make him aggressive. So it's kind of good he's in wartime because he can push all that energy into strategizing things and planning things and seeing it come to fruition. So this is very healthy for him. Now, Saturn is separating from his midheaven. Saturn is here again with Mercury because these outer planets, again, are the current planets, and the inner ring of planets are his birth planets. So the midheaven is the real focal point of his legacy, of his career, of what's going on with him. And he's having a tough time, which I'm not surprised because Saturn is up there in his 10th house. Saturn gives us a hard time. Saturn challenges us. Saturn wants us to learn lessons, and it wants us to learn them well. it does not necessarily give gifts until you pay the piper, until you do the task, until you learn the lesson. So Zelensky is learning statescraft trial by fire. He's just having to learn all of this stuff, dealing with all sorts of dignitaries on a world stage with the whole world watching him, and he can't make a mistake. So this is tough for him. But fortunately, right now, Mercury is with Saturn. So this is why Zelensky has been traveling to other countries and talking to other diplomats and leaders, getting them to buy in on his country. They already were supportive, but he has Gemini rising and a Jupiter in the first house. This is a very charismatic person. This is a person, I mean, he already was an actor, a comedian, a lawyer. Now he's running the country. I mean, is there anything this guy can't do? Well, honestly, no. He can do almost anything he wants to do. He's extremely intelligent. He's very well spoken, and he's on it. He gets the pulse of the moment. So now his Pluto. Here's Pluto for him. Not his Pluto. His Pluto is down here in Libra. But transiting Pluto is coming up here into his ninth house. The ninth house stands in for foreign countries, different things that happen in different cultures, like different languages, like the internet is a different language, space is a different language, foreign countries speak different languages, spirituality, they're all different languages, right? Cooking is a different language, music is a different language. So all
Right.
those kinds of things that are different languages are really focused for him. Plus, this is where he naturally has his sun conjunct with Venus. Beautiful, beautiful arrangement of planets here for somebody who is going to be dealing with foreign affairs generally. Now, this just makes him already just a natural statesman and a person who really sees what's going on really on the world stage. He just has an innate sense for what is happening in the world and in his country.
Yeah, I've always gotten the what I've always picked up from Zelensky is that he sees the big picture overall. It's like he looks out and he sees, all right, I need to take this step, this step, this step, this step so that I get this result. It's like he
Exactly.
can pinpoint.
Yep.
And I mean, I have the utmost respect for the man for the amount of bravery he has shown,
Yeah.
and the chutzpah to just stand his ground and say, not just no, but hell no, you're not taking my country. I mean,
Yeah.
there's a lot of leaders out there that would have just rolled over and played dead.
Yeah. For whatever
know.
reason, for money or not to lose
Whatever,
whatever. But this arrangement here, he's got Sun conjunct Venus, and notice what's right across the sky from it. Mars, again, his natal Mars. So he is brave. He is a natural chess strategist. This guy sees 5 steps ahead to everything that anybody else is doing. So literally, Putin has met his match. And without KGB training, Zelensky is going to win. So here, though, is Pluto. Now, Pluto changing signs at the end of this month. It's going into Aquarius, and then it's going to back up into Capricorn a couple of times. And finally, by 2025, it's totally in Aquarius. Now, in that amount of time, I'm not saying it's going to take that long for their war to end. I think their war will end much sooner than that. But what this indicates to me is that Pluto is going to be hitting his sun with this Venus and opposing the Mars in the next couple of years. Zelensky is going to be a major statesman and player on the world stage for the next 20 years.
Yeah.
He is going to shape our world society. He already is. And Pluto is just giving him the big guns to do it. He already has the natural talent and the strategy. He's an extraordinary human being. And Pluto's going to just make sure that the whole darn world knows it and give him what he needs to act on it. Now,
well, yeah, because he's not only smart as hell and brave as hell to stand up to what he stood up to, but he's basically giving a 101 level class in democracy to the rest of the world of saying, if you want to be a democratic nation, you're going to have to follow these kind of steps.
Right.
You can't, go play footsie with a bad guy and think that they're going to leave you alone.
Yeah.
Because the minute you crack that door open, they're in.
Yeah. Now, over here, we see all of the planets are up here, up top for him, and all of the planets for Joe were all down here at the
They
bottom.
were like opposite each other.
Right. And that's because the circle was spun 180 degrees because Joe had Sagittarius over here. So now these planets up here, we've got Vesta and Jupiter and Chiron and Venus and Juno and Eris, and then up here we have Neptune. But this little grouping of planets here for me, this is all in his 11th house. And this has to do with groups that we are a part of, our goals, what we want to leave behind in the world, the mark we want to make, not our legacy, not like we did a career and we made a lot of money, so we started a foundation. That's one thing. But to then leave behind what you really want. I mean, some people retire and they travel the world. Some people retire and they do things. And that's probably Zelensky, but that's another story. But these planets here are representing all of the allied countries that he is talking to. Because one of the things that he also did right after Biden was in his country was he went to a bunch of different allied countries to speak to them to solidify that relationship. And that was very smart because
Yes.
he's just nailing it down that, yes, you've given lip service to this and you've given me some support, but I want it all. We are not playing for marbles here. We are
And if
playing.
you want my butt there to protect your ass when someone comes
Right.
knocking on your front door, it's put up or shut up time. I mean, that's
Right.
how I look at it.
That's right. This is also representing his group of counselors and advisors in his inner circle, that he has a lot of people who are very, very different and have different points of view, and he trusts them, and they are advising him as well. So even when he's not in his country, he knows that things are being taken care of. And he is out doing what they want him to do, what his advisors have said he must do too. So it's not like he's just sitting in a closet and thinking of all this stuff by himself. He's got these amazing group of advisors who are probably also friends that are very smart as well. He has surrounded himself with very intelligent people. Now, one big thing that I want to tell you is that he's got a huge 12th house. So he's really big on secrets and he's really good at keeping secrets. And right now, Uranus is there, Mars is there. Mars is going into his first house pretty soon. So he'll be even more successful at being aggressive with his military moves. But Uranus here in the 12th house, what I got from this is that there are resources in the Ukraine that are in Ukraine. They don't call it the Ukraine anymore. But one of the big reasons that Russia wanted to get back into Ukraine is because of their minerals, because of their resources.
Yeah.
Yes, they have big wheat fields and they supply most of the wheat to Europe and the rest of the world, but it's the minerals, it's the natural resources inside the earth under Ukraine that Putin really wants.
Yeah.
And we don't hear that much about it in the news. We maybe heard once or twice at the very beginning of the war that there were natural resources there that Putin wanted, but we don't hear about it anymore. And that's on purpose. Zelensky, the 12th house is the house of secrets. It's also the house of undoing. And I'm sure Zelensky has consulted an astrologer about this. But this Uranus has to do with chaos and upending and changing and pulling the rug out from under. So I don't think that he wants anybody to know what he really has in those mountains. I think he wants to keep that a big fat secret until after the war is over, so that then they can help recover their economy by parlaying those resources into support for rebuilding the country. I know the other allies are going to help rebuild the country too, but I think that he's got a big fat secret here, and I think he's playing, like I said, a huge game of chess to keep that under wraps. Also, another reason that I say that is because he's got this Aquarius Leo opposition here going on. And then we've got Uranus up in Taurus at about similar degrees. So he's almost got a grand cross in his chart. And what fits right here in the grand cross comes in the form of some degrees of that eclipse I was talking about that affected Biden so much. I think it affected him too a lot. And I think in similar time frames, you're going to see, not exactly, but in similar time frames, you're going to see big fat thing happen for Zelensky, then big fat thing happen for Biden, or vice versa. Like they're going to kind of be in lockstep for a little while because they've got so much going on astrologically that connects. Is there anything else? Propaganda issues from Russia and China. That's showing here in his chart. We've got, what is that? The transiting Neptune up here is squaring his natal Jupiter down here, which is in his first house. So, they're not only just trying to say that, the war is, that Russia should take over Ukraine because it's their due or their right, but they're also bad-mouthing and denigrating Zelensky himself and trying to besmirch his image. And that's all going to fall away towards the end of the year. The year 2027 and 2028 is going to be tremendously powerful for Zelensky. That's when he will begin a decades-long transformation on himself. He will change a lot. And
because he's still a fairly young man. I mean, he's what, in his
he's 40? He's 45. Yeah. He turned 45 in January.
Yeah, so, he's still got a good 40, 50 years in leadership.
Yeah, he does. Well, that's what I'm saying with that Pluto. He's got decades, But he also, like Joe Biden, has a very sensitive connection with a fixed star. And in his case, it's the fixed star of Regulus, which is the star of kings. But the connection is with, where is it? Saturn. So here's Saturn and here's Regulus. Now, this is an odd connection. Now, Trump has this Regulus star in his first house. So Trump thinks he's a king. That's what that's about. I didn't see a connection for Biden with the star Regulus, but I did point out that one with Antares. But Zelensky has a connection with Regulus. And what this says about Saturn conjunct Regulus is this produces a person who is just, has friends among the clergy, is successful in church or law. Remember, he is a lawyer. He's scholarly, wealthy. He gains through speculation, companies, and friends in high positions. These are all true of him. He's proud of his home and family. He could have some heart problems when he's much, much older. But he's destined for public honor, which he is already receiving. So he's already playing on that Saturn Regulus conjunction. And the guy has Jupiter in the first house. People are drawn to him. They just want to be around him because he's like Father Christmas. And from now until the end of March, he will be initiating projects which he definitely will complete, and they will break through the limitations that were on him before. So this is a watershed month. March is for Zelensky. He is going to show the world what he is going to change in March. So I'm very excited to see what's going on with him. And I know that was long. I'm sorry, you guys, but
no, that's very interesting, because I know when you said, when we talked a couple of weeks ago about whose chart to do, and you said, well, Biden's had some interesting stuff and we can do this one or this one. And that's why I asked for Zelensky, because I just had a feeling that there's a lot more to him than most people even realize,
Yeah, absolutely.
I think the thing that really got to 45 the most was that, like 45, Zelensky started out as a TV actor.
Yeah.
He was on TV. He played a president.
Yep.
And in other things, he was a stand-up comedian. So, this is someone who's used to having rotten eggs thrown at him, so to speak, and
yeah, he has thick-skinned.
Yeah, very thick-skinned, and unlike 45, who's got paper-thin skin. And
I think that's a mistake that Trump made. That's why there was that attempt to browbeat Zelensky is because I think Trump thought, oh, he's like me. He's really an entertainer. So
Yeah.
this is going to be a cakewalk. And, surprise, surprise, you just walked into, the
Somebody got
python.
more knowledge in their big toe than he'll have in his entire life.
Yeah. So what are you shuffling on? You shuffling on these two big guys to see what's going on with them?
Yeah, let's go. Let's see. We got a couple of questions. If y'all have any questions, any political questions, please put them in the chat for me. Let's see. The first question we had show up was Kathy Ritchie, and she wanted to know, will any Republican switch to independent or Democrat?
Oh, good question.
That is a good question.
I'm going to use my Housewives tarot for that one. Because the Housewives don't mess around. They equivocate.
If you want to go first, you can, or if not, I can.
Sure. I'll go. So,
okay.
I see. Oh yeah. There's going to be quite a few. And there may be some Republicans who just vote Democratic and don't make an actual switch, but I think there's definitely going to be some switches. First of all, we have the Knight of Wands. I mean, people want change. They don't want things to stay the same, and they don't like what they've seen. So they're definitely looking for
You
change.
pull the Knight.
Yep.
I pull the King and Queen of Wands.
Yeah. I mean, these are people who are inspired to change, not necessarily inspired in like a, ooh, that's great way, but a like, oh, I can't stand that way. And then we got the Ace of Pentacles, and the Pentacles usually go with people who are Republican. So, whether they're dirt poor or very, very wealthy, they are people that understand their resources and covet their resources and use their resources. And in this case, the biggest resource they have is their vote. And they're going to go take their resources and take it elsewhere. Well, then we have the Magician. In fact, I got 3 major arcana here, which is kind of like, yes, loud and clear. Magician, yeah, we're switching. We're changing things. We're turning water into wine here. We are definitely changing. So I think a lot of them are literally going to change parties. We got the Star, which, that is usually for me indicating Democratic, that people are feeling like the Democrats give people a bit better shake. And then we have the Moon, which is why I said some will just vote Democratic and they won't actually change to independent or Democratic. So some people, I think, will do it under the radar, but I think large numbers of people have already done this, and more will continue to do it up until the 2024 presidential race.
Well, I started out with the 8 of Swords. So, they're feeling bound and tied up and unable to move forward. For those Republicans that are out there who are wanting to work across the aisle in order to get things done, not just for their district or their state, but for the country as a whole, they're not all crazy. I mean,
yeah,
the majority of them are, but they're not all crazy. There are some decent, hardworking, conservative men and women in Congress and in the Senate who truly want to work and try to make things better. I know we have a senator, very conservative, very Republican. I have never voted for him in my life, but when Biden became president, the first thing he did was he reached out to work with the Democrats on the infrastructure bill.
Yeah.
And he was one of the co-authors of it, Cassidy.
Wow.
And he managed to not only help put together a really decent bill, but he got like over $8 billion allocated just to Louisiana, which was desperately needed. We've got bridges falling down. We've got potholes and roads bigger than than the crawfish ponds. I mean,
Yeah.
and it's been a real lifesaver. And a lot of people are going back to work now because all of these projects are getting ready to get started. It takes a couple of years for everything to kind of get rolling. And something I recently found out was that Louisiana had created a law several years back. How it slipped by me, I don't know. That if you went into public service and you worked in public service for more than 10 years, that means you're giving up control of getting any Social Security when you retire.
What?
Yeah, they're saying you can't pull Social Security and your retirement.
Oh.
Okay, now I worked outside of public service for 30 something plus years in the medical field. I've got decades of paying into Social Security.
Wow.
I went to work at the university I worked. That's a civil service job. Technically, I work for the state of Louisiana.
Oh.
And I just went over my 10-year mark. And I got a letter from the Social Security saying you're no longer eligible to pull disability or Social Security because you've been in public service now for 10 plus years.
But does civil service?
I went ballistic when I saw this. I found out Cassidy, same senator, and several more, both sides, are now working on getting not only this bill taken away, but to bring it in such a way that it ensures that people get their full retirement, no matter which ones they go with or both.
Yeah.
So, and I literally sent him an email and I said, look, I've never voted for you. I don't see eye to eye with 99.9% of your policies. But if you pull this off, you got my vote.
Yeah.
Because this affects me. It affects other members of my family that have worked regular jobs and civil service jobs. It's like, okay, you do this and I'll go out and I'll vote for you. I won't go and ring your bell on the corner, but I will vote for you,
But for people who have worked in civil service, do they not get any kind of a pension or anything?
Yeah, they get retirement. There's a retirement fund.
Oh, okay.
But you have to be 30 years or more just to get like 90% of it.
Oh.
It's like I've been there for 10 years. If I work till I'm 70, that would only give me 20 years in, and I would only get like 60% or something of my retirement. So are you freaking kidding me? And I'm supposed to just willy-nilly let go of my Social Security? I don't think so.
No.
I mean, So I let them know this is important to me and several people I know. You need to fix it,
Yeah.
Because when I found out about it, I was like, that can't be true. And then I got a letter from Social Security saying it was true. And I was like, holy crap. So y'all just be prepared. If you work any kind of civil service, public service job where you pay into a retirement system, check your state laws and make sure that you're not giving up your Social Security if you're not paying into Social Security, So anyway, off of that tangent. But I ended up with the Queen and the King of Wands.
Yeah, and I wanted to say, when I was looking at that question, I was thinking of general public Republicans. I wasn't thinking of Republicans who are like in government now. So it's interesting. You're answering for the Republicans who are in government now. I'm talking about the general population. So you guys got a twofer. All right, go ahead. I'll stop.
No, that's okay. Because I kind of saw it both ways. I mean, I'm seeing a lot of people that, okay, for instance, I have a family member, very far right, very conservative, who literally called me on the phone a couple of weeks ago, exploding into the phone. did you know that Republicans are trying to take away my Social Security and my Medicare? And I said, yeah. So I've known that for decades. They've been talking about it for 50 years. They've been working on it.
Yeah.
He was like ready to just completely just explode over it. Well, I guess it just leaves me no other option. I'm going to be voting for Joe Biden this year. If you tell anybody I said that, I'll deny it. I'm like, okay, your secret's safe with me. I won't tell anybody you're voting for Joe.
Yeah.
I said, but now you know why I won't. I just don't tolerate what the Republicans do. I said, because they've got all these people convinced that they're doing this, that, and the other for them, when in actuality, everything that they try to put through is working against them, the people, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, Cam, I'm considered a state employee. We don't have a union through the university program. They have tried to unionize it, and it's been strangled every time they've made that attempt. But we'll see what happens. I mean, 5 more years and I would qualify for full Social Security because I'll hit 67. And so I'm like, okay, y'all got 5 years to get your act together because I want my damn money back.
Yeah.
That's my money. I paid into that. That's not me being a moocher. And which brings me up to another question that I saw earlier. Evidently, bobblehead Boebert, Lauren Boebert,
Yep.
made a statement today calling the stay-at-home moms lazy moochers and that they don't deserve to pull Social Security or Medicare when they hit 67. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, wait. Y'all are the people who push for women to stay home
Yeah.
and be barefoot and pregnant 24/7, taking care of the man. And now you're going to turn around and tell them, by the way, all those years of sacrifice was you mooching off the system, and you don't deserve to get Social Security and Medicare.
Why? What? How does it serve them to make statements like that? How does it make life better for them to say that? I just
I don't get it.
don't get it. I don't get it. She is
I don't get it.
annoying.
Yeah.
She is really annoying. Hey, there was someone in the chat that wanted to know. I don't know if they were asking about my YouTube channel or my website, but both of them are called The Cool Crone.
I believe I have them both listed in the description box below.
Wonderful. So
I know I've got your YouTube channel in there.
Yeah, so people in the chat, that's where you can find it, is in the description.
So I know I've got it in the description box. I think I put your website in too. I don't remember.
That's okay. It's the same
If
thing.
not, I can go in and add it after the show.
That's all right. The channel is really going to get people where they want to go.
Yeah. Hi, Froxy Roxy. Hi, Rose Blue. Yeah, she lived on food stamps growing up. You're right.
Yeah.
And that's what gets me is all of these Republicans whose families survived on government assistance in order to eat or keep a roof over their head or go to school and get a degree are the first ones that want to cut it off for everybody else.
Yeah, what is up with that? I mean, I just, it's weird. I've worked all my life, and usually I've worked with a lot of men. I'm in IT, and so I'm always surrounded by guys. And like I've gone through 2 divorces. I've raised my 2 kids for a while. My second husband, he had 5 kids. I was raising 7 kids. I mean, I've always done it, and I have had to work full time because I had no choice financially. I had to provide. And I don't begrudge anybody who's able to stay home. I think, my God, my kids would have loved for me to be at home. I would have loved to be at home.
Yeah. I mean,
really terrific. But my mom stayed at home, and it was great. And then when times got tough, my dad said, "Oh, I need you in the office. I can't trust anybody. I need you to come run my office." And she worked for him then, starting in her probably 50s. She worked for him for like 20 some years. And then she went and got other jobs. I mean, like some people just work, and some people, it's a different life path.
Exact. I mean, my mom was a single parent. She raised two kids by herself. I mean, yeah, she had help from her parents, um, but basically she did it on her own. And she got two kids raised and through college with a degree. She always said that was her greatest accomplishment of life, that both of her children got a college education.
Yeah.
Um, and she never got past high school,
Yeah.
you know. But she
Yeah.
was a hard worker and
Yeah.
she worked all kinds of jobs. I mean, I started working a job for cash money when I was like 12 or 13, being the local neighborhood babysitter. When I
Yeah.
was 15, I went to work at Sonic.
Yep.
And the only reason why I got hired was because my mom called the labor board in Texas. That's where we lived at the time. And said, if my daughter's 15, can she work for this food service she's going to interview for? And they said, as long as she tells them how old she is and that they're only allowed to work her X amount of hours per week, it's allowed. And
Yeah.
because I went in with that knowledge for the interview and said, I'm only 15, but the labor board said, as long as you know it and I don't work over this many hours, that I'm allowed to work. And they gave me the job because I bothered to look into,
Yeah.
what was required. And
Yeah.
I've been working every day of my life since.
Yeah.
The only time I didn't work was the first 3 years after I got hurt. And I
Yeah.
didn't work. And
Yeah.
then I went back to work.
Yeah.
I've been working ever since. I mean, I
Yeah.
work 10-hour days,
Yep.
4 days a week, and then a half a day on Fridays. So I'm still working.
Yep. Yep. I know. I started, my dad put me to work at 14, and I have been working ever since. And it's just, I don't see an end to it anytime soon. I gotta
Thank
pay.
you, Corette. She put your website and your YouTube channel
Oh,
in the chat.
thank you. Thank you very much. Oh, that's very nice. Thank you.
I have some awesome moderators. They're on top of it.
You sure do. That's awesome. That's
I'm
cool.
sorry, and I didn't mean to interrupt you. I spotted it and I wanted to
Oh,
call it
no,
out.
that's great. That's great. Do you want to do another question?
Yeah, we got a couple more here. Okay. We already answered that one. Hang on. Okay, Amanda had the question. Yeah, I think we're all grappling with the rise of so much ugliness and narrow-mindedness. How do we reconcile this with light and love?
Oh, I got a good answer for that.
Go.
So, as you are dealing with these people, the first thing to do is to realize and to remind yourself they have no power over you. You are not in their drama. You are not in their little emotional stew of feeling
Yep.
sorry for themselves. So they can't hurt you. That's the first thing, is you're safe. And then the second thing that you do once you remind yourself of that is to, sometimes this is me at work. I got to go, wait a minute. How do I do light and love with these people who are so annoying, right? But you have to. You just realize they have no power over you. And then once you do that, you center yourself, put a little light into your own body, to your own self, and then you're able to send a little love and light to them, because that's what you need to do. Now, love and light may be in the form of, I wish this person found a much nicer place to be so they didn't bother me. Oh, look, they're walking out the door. I mean, it's perfectly fine to wish that somebody has a new opportunity so that they go away from you. That
Yeah.
actually is a very creative way to use love and light. Just give them an opportunity to move on. Like you have a neighbor you can't stand, just visualize for them a beautiful new home that they can buy in the next state. There's lots of things,
Or at least across town, if nothing else.
across town. So you go ahead, take it in, understand that it's something that you don't like. Acknowledge that you're human. You're not, the Dalai
Yeah.
Lama. You don't have to just, take it all in. And also, when you're doing this, realize you're not accepting what they're doing. You're trying to just not get involved with it, because if you get involved at all, then you're going to eventually, because you're probably an empath, I'm guessing, you're probably going to start saying, well, what caused them to be like that? And how can I help them with that? Not your job. Not
Yeah.
your job to fix everybody.
That's
Your
right.
job is to keep yourself centered and grounded and filled with love and light, so that it ripples out from you and everybody around you gets a nice little puff of that love and light from you. And then that raises the
And
vibration for everybody.
exactly. And if nothing else, I mean, I have a couple of nephews. I mean, and of course, they're in their 50s. Um, that, on Facebook, or when I first started kind of speaking out how I felt about things politically, because for years I never said a word to anybody. Nobody knew what party I was with or who I supported. But when I finally started speaking out, I had a couple of nephews that would argue back with me because they were very conservative. And with one of them, I mean, I don't even remember now what the topic was on, but it got into a really heated back and forth. And then it went personal. And I was like, whoa, wait. I said, look, you're my nephew and I love you. I don't agree with you, but I still love you. You're still family. I said, now, if you want to cut ties, that's on you. I said, but I say, let's just agree to disagree, and we just don't talk about this topic again, at least until you get some sense in your head. Of course, he laughed at that and said, "You're right. You're right. I shouldn't have made it personal." He apologized for that, and then he said, "You're right. Let's just." And so now, if one or the other of us puts something down, and the other one disagrees, we'll start it out with, "We can always agree to disagree, but this is what I think," and then we can just kind of roll with it from there. And I think sometimes it's to give them that little ouch of
Yeah.
saying, I'm not going to hold you accountable for your beliefs just because they're different than mine. I can hold you accountable by saying, I think they're wrong beliefs, and but they're your beliefs. And it's not my job to make you change your beliefs.
Right.
That's your job to pick up the freaking mouse and turn on your computer and go Google the facts and then tell me what you think, you know? Um, and that's actually worked with a lot of folks. And there are some that's just unfriend, and I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. In the beginning, it bothered me, but now I'm like, one less headache to deal with. I got enough people in
Yeah.
there. I don't need another one. And it's
Yeah.
not worth another gray hair over or losing sleep over.
Yeah. It's like, if you're in a job where everybody at that job bothers you, maybe you shouldn't be at that job. Or if you really can't change jobs, spin it around and look at it from a different perspective. Maybe the reason you're at that job is so
It's
that
to shine that light.
you can shine that light. That's right. So, it does all come down to love and light. And as annoying as they may be, it's not your barrel of monkeys. Or what does my girlfriend say? Not my monkeys, not my circus.
Yeah,
She just doesn't engage. She just does not
exactly.
engage. It's as if she's not hearing it.
I
And
like Rose Blue said, I say a lot of silent, bless your heart.
yeah, yeah, but what's underneath that, bless your heart? Are you
It
really saying
all
love and
goes
light?
according to how it's said and what tone of voice you're using, as to whether if it means bless your heart or it means F you.
Exactly. You got to be careful with that. You got to be careful with that.
Very much so. So I didn't draw cards on it. I didn't feel
No,
like that kind of question, but
no.
um, I do have, when we talked about this earlier, which is why we were late getting started. Walgreens
Oh yeah, let's do the
has just
on that.
I found this out from my pharmacist. I've been using Walgreens for over 10 years. And this past month, I had real problems getting my pain medication filled. Most of you know I'm handicapped. I live in constant chronic pain. I take Schedule 3 narcotics, which stay under lock and key when it's in my house. I'm very careful with my medicine. I don't overtake it. I don't undertake it. It took a long time for my doctor and I to get the mix right so that I function and can do this and get up and go to work every day. Well, the pharmacist, there was issues with trying to get my prescription filled. I had to go 2 days with no medicine. Not pretty. Ask my family. And when I finally got it approved and went in to pick it up, and the pharmacist, she told me, she said, look, she said, Walgreens has had a meeting of their board and they've passed some new rules that basically gives pharmacists the right to refuse to fill any medication that they don't agree with that diagnosis diagnosis that the doctor is given. So if the doctor says you're got X and you need to take X medicine, and that pharmacist looks at it and says, well, I don't think this person needs to keep taking this X medicine. That's it's not good long term. And they can just refuse to fill your prescription. Wow. Now, if you're like me or others that live in a large city, it's, you can just go to another pharmacy, which is what I'm doing now. I'm changing to another pharmacy. But now I got to go through the hassle of making sure I've got all my medicines put together, go to the other pharmacy, give them all the information so that everything transfers over. What made me angry about it was, what right does a pharmacist, and granted now they have to have a pharmaceutical license and a degree and all that, but what right does a pharmacist have in overriding what a medical doctor says is necessary for their patient? And she brought this up with me because she was like, well, your diagnosis, they're not saying anything about when they're going to get you off of this medicine. I said, honey, I'm not ever going to get off of this medicine. I said, this is for the rest of my life. We finally have a good mix. Everything, as long as everything functions well, I'm good to go. And that's that. It's not changing. I said, my back is not going to miraculously heal itself. I mean, I don't know, maybe it will one day, but that's not up for me to decide. I use any and everything I can possibly think of to provide relief so that I don't take extra medicine or over-the-counter medicine. I'm very careful about that. Ask my family. They can attest to that. But it was just to see that how many people, like Colleen was saying when we had the discussion earlier, how many people, because it's the only pharmacy in their town, are going to be shit out of luck because they can't go somewhere else, or who go to the pharmacy and they say, no, we can't give you that morning after pill, even though you were raped last night, and have documentation to prove it. Okay, well, then what are you supposed to do? How many people are going to just go home and think there's no help for me? Right. And will never even think of going to another pharmacist or pharmacy or talking to someone about, what do I do now? Mm-hmm. So I think it's important that those of us who can let people know about this, because if Walgreens does it, who's to say that CVS or what is it, Rexall or whatever the other one is? There's several big pharmaceutical companies out there, e-scripts and stuff. Who's to say they're not going to start doing it? Yeah. But like Colleen was saying when we talked about it, this is going to have major kickback on them because people are going to fight back over this, no matter what the medication is for. You're not a doctor, and that's not your patient. And you don't know all the ins and outs of what their medical issues are to deny them medication that their doctor feels is necessary for their health, to have good health or better health.
I'm just wondering how many laws they are breaking with this law,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
How many laws are they breaking? Because that pharmacist does have a license, and it's restricted to certain things. That's I threw some more cards on it too, because
Okay, good. Let's see. Amanda said, I have a friend on SSDI with chronic shoulder pain, arthritis, and they had the gallbladder to say he wasn't in pain. Yeah, I've been through that too.
yeah, pain is a hard thing to manage. My kitty just stepped on the Windows key, so he covered up my screen.
Yeah, that's who's doing it, Kathy, is Walgreens. They're the ones that have started the ball rolling on this. And right, Rose. The pharmacists are there to inform you about the medication you're taking, what effects you're going to get, how it might interact with the other medication that they have you taking in their system, that kind of thing. That's kind of what they're there for. And like I was telling Colleen, both my regular doctor and my pain management doctor, both of them are well aware of what I take from the other one. I make sure they share everything so that everything goes smoothly because I don't want to have any interactions. That is not fun at all. Um, I'm going to shut up now because you said you had pull cards.
Yeah, I pulled some cards. So this issue as an issue. Now, when I was reading backstage with you, we were just talking about people. What was going to happen to people. This, I think, focused more on what's going to happen with is it actually a law now, or was it just Walgreens made? Oh, thank you, Cleo.
Thank you, Cleo.
Yeah, and everybody should join us on St. Patty's Day. That's going to be a hoot. Um, but is it a state law, or why did Walgreens do this? They were worried that a state law was going to be invoked, or what? How did
I
this?
think it started up when they started pushing this when the Supreme Court came back and took away a woman's right to have an abortion.
Oh, so this is
So
going
this is because there are a lot of states that had laws that were like in limbo, waiting for that answer from the Supreme Court. And as soon as the verdict came down, boom, those laws kicked in.
right. And this law, if they do this, then that gives the pharmacist the right to reject some or refuse to sell the Plan B, the morning after pill. I got it. Okay. So as a law or standing or whatever, this will be attacked. The courts are going to find that they got big old lawsuits, or maybe a big class action suit, or a mass tort or something coming at them for this law. And if not, Walgreens themselves will be sued for something. So I think there
We're
will
going
be
to lose a lot of money.
there's going to be big lawsuits with this. And the lawmakers and probably Walgreens too are just going to sit tight. They're just going to be like, whoop, we're not going to say anything. Like I said to you in the last reading, it's going to be like they just draw back into their little hidey holes, and like it's not happening for a while, and we're not going to hear much of anything. But what they're doing in the back is vigorously defending it. They're not going to just cave right away. They're going to defend it and reject it and appeal it and do everything they can legally. But in the end, the truth will out. That there's going to be one judge that just says, "Oh, you guys, come on." They're going to have a tower moment, and the judge is going to just say, it does break some laws, and it is not unconstitutional, because we're not talking about constitutional rights, but they're talking about um, uh, licensure rights, or certified rights, or the medical community rights, or something like that. That somebody is going to a judge, I think, is going to say this breaks about 35 different laws that we have governing the medical and pharmaceutical boards. So this can't be. You can't do this. So I think it's going to be overturned, but it's going to take a few months for it to come to the court and to be argued and to be rejected and all of that stuff. It's going to take some time. So
Yep.
in the meantime, I'm afraid that there are going to be some people who go without, who do not get their medication, and especially there's going to be some women who need the plan B who are probably not going to get it. But I think more so, I don't think there's going to be that many for the plan B. I think it's more so going to be people like yourself that have intense medical need for certain medications. And I think the pharmacists are going to get it into their head that now they're doctors and they can make these decisions. And it's like, dude, I'm not taking my clothes off for you. I'm standing at Walgreens. You're not going to examine me to tell me whether I need this medication or not.
Exactly.
Give me my effing medicine. So
exactly.
It's going to be nasty. And I do think that they're going to have, showdowns in Walgreens between patients and pharmacists.
They already had me in there raising hell, so you know.
I think they're going to have a lot more. I don't think it's going to be pretty.
That's it. I pulled a card. I pulled a moonology oracle card. It says first quarter moon. Just says your commitment is being tested, and I think that's true for not just us, but I think it's also going to be true for the pharmacists, the people that work in a pharmacy.
Yeah.
You know, what if you got some good old boy pharmacist who's, a Trumper through and through, and his neighbor's wife comes in to fill her birth control prescription,
right?
And he's like, "Oh no, I don't think you need to take that anymore."
Yeah,
that's being too woke for me.
Or what if they pull the crap where anybody who's unmarried can't get birth control?
Can't get it. Yeah.
Then the next step is even if you are married, you can't get it. But
right,
it might start with unmarried, and that could be anybody from the age of 8 to 80. All of us are not married. I'm not married.
That's it. Well, I'm not either anymore. I mean,
yeah,
I've been a widow for 22 years now.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you're right, Rose. But they are still selling the blue pill for men.
Oh yeah, like that. That's okay. Oh, geez.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yes.
Okay, enough of my little rant. Okay, Shockwave had a question. Representative Tony Gonzalez of Texas was censured Saturday in a rare move by his state party over votes that included supporting new gun safety laws after the Uvalde school shooting in his district.
So what's the question? Shockwave, what's the question? Is she still are they still here?
So he was censured because he supported new gun safety laws.
Oh, okay.
Okay. It took me a minute of rereading that to get the point she was trying to make. And that was right after the Uvalde school shooting. It's like, let a kid throw up because they had an interaction with a dye and some stupid candy.
Yeah.
And that candy's pulled from the shelf so fast it'll make your head spin.
Right. And Shockwave just
wrote, go in and murder 20 kids with a gun, and it's
okay.
It's
Shockwave wrote back in the comments, will he turn independent? Well, he might. Let's see. Let's do cards on that.
Okay.
So will Tony Gonzalez turn independent? So that, I mean, this is, hi Junosphere. Hi Juno. I know I haven't said hello to very many people. I'm not able to add to the comments, I don't think. So
you should be able to see comments.
I see them. I just can't write them.
Oh, you can't respond.
I would have to do it over in YouTube, and that's too much, too confusing.
I got you.
Okay. There's a limit. I can do astrology, but mastering StreamYard is too much for me. Okay. Mr. Gonzalez.
It's all right. I deal with faculty all day that are computer science people. And it still just rocks my brain when they come in and say, "Can you make this print? I can't make this print.
Yeah.
Can you open this document? If I email it to you, I can't open it." I'm like, "There's how many letters after your name?
Yeah.
There's how many zeros after that first number in your check that I don't get?"
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
I love to tease them about it, but oh, thanks, Rose. She said it was okay that we ranted, that they were ranting along with us.
Okay. Oh,
You ready, or you want me to go?
I'm ready. I'm
Okay,
ready. Okay.
go, darling.
So,
Go, darling.
so Mr. Gonzalez is just going to take a breath. He's going to take a breather. He's just going to stand back because he wants none of what they're handing out. He does not like this. He's very offended by it and doesn't want to come out publicly and really say too much about it just because he's just like incensed. He's like the ultimate. Now, when he does decide to speak, I don't know what sign he is, but this is pretty fiery. The Page of Wands here. When he does decide to speak, he's going to be pretty damning. So he's going to gather his thoughts, gather his words, and then he's going to shoot back at whatever it is that they're. I love that he's riding this like a hobby horse, and it's really a mop. I love it. He's so Texas. So he's gonna shoot back in a big way. But then we're not going to hear from him for a while as he considers his options. And once he figures again, like he's a person of thought. He thinks about things. He doesn't just react emotionally. So he's probably not a fire sign. He thinks about things. He thinks it through. And once he thinks this through, he's going to go with his gut. And his gut is going to say, buddy, you can't play in this sandbox anymore. And I think he's going to switch. I think he's going to switch. I think he's probably going to go. He may go independent rather than Democrat, but I think he's going to. I think independent is where he's really headed. And once he does that, I think then people will follow him to the ends of the earth. His constituency will be fine with it. They will not have a problem with it. They'll support him. Okay, that's what I got.
All right. Well, I started out with a 5 of Swords. He's feeling a lot of conflict, a lot of anger. Um, he feels like he's going to be defeated on every turn because of the views of the party that he's currently in. And then I pulled the 5 of Wands, which is more competition, more uh, conflict, fighting, not just amongst themselves, but with every damn body. And then I pulled the Page of Swords, which is a new idea, a new start. He's got a thirst for knowledge. He's wanting to start actually governing and not just stand around and have histrionics publicly, but to actually make a difference. And that's the big thing, is we need people who actually want to make a difference and actually do the job that they're elected to do, and not just sit around willy-nilly and do whatever they think. Okay, I got 2 questions left. How are you on time? Are you okay?
I'm fine. I'm good.
Okay. Just wanted to be sure. Okay, we got Shockwave again. Texas property tax bill that excludes divorced LGBTQ couples from getting relief.
Will Biden or DOJ stop this bill?
Ooh.
Oh.
That's a state bill.
That's nasty.
That
is nasty.
I mean, there might be a way that the federal government could override a state bill like that, but I don't know what the actual laws say in that respect. I mean, I know there are some things that you can get federal to override state.
But probably not on property tax.
Yeah, I was going to say, if it's something about somebody's well-being, that's one thing, but
property tax,
I don't think property tax. Oh, I just had two jump out.
My cat is just laying across my keyboard like, this is so boring. Could you please get off and pet me? Yeah. I'm so sorry. Am I making too much noise for you, kitty? Do you want me to shut up? Can I get you a little pillow and a blankie? Make you more comfortable? Yeah. Oh, you poor thing. You poor thing. Oh, jeez, life is just too hard for you. Okay, the way I'm thinking about this is, will anybody be able to stop Abbott from doing this? That's the way I'm putting it. Yeah, they're going to stop him. Yeah. You ready?
I'm ready. Unless you want to go, I can go.
You go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. I started out with the Four of Swords. So we've got some contemplation here. Maybe even retreat in some respects for some. I have a feeling that if enough people push back on this, he might walk it back, but I wouldn't hold my breath on that because he's not a walker backer. And then I've got a Seven of Cups where it appears that they're feeling awfully damn celebratory, thinking, we got over them again. One more thing, we can keep more money in our pocket. Because I guarantee you that's what the bottom line is. Keeping more money in their pocket. And then I pull the Hangman. So this is just, it's going to just sit there. And like I said, I don't know if a federal law could override a state law for a property tax bill. But if enough people push back and file lawsuits against the governor, they might could get it walked up to the court. Now, that could be just as bad as if they didn't do anything at all, because right now you have a very extremist court. So
in Texas they do?
Yeah. Well, I think their district, I don't know what their district court is, but the Supreme Court, if they got it to go that far, that's going to just be one more thing, is that the Supreme Court's going to jump in joy to be able to do away with.
Wow.
Which is why we need to get rid of the bad ones and put in some good ones.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah. So are you?
I'm done.
Oh, that's everything. Okay. So it's interesting to me. Did I? No, I'm not muted. It's interesting to me that people who get elected do things that their constituents probably.
Uh-oh. You froze. Come back, Colleen. Come back. Did kitty cat hit pause on you? This StreamYard link, give me just a minute, I can put it up. Colleen, I put the link in chat so you can sign in that way. The cat did it.
She put me in airplane mode and it disconnected my internet. Kitty, bad kitty. Jeez. So did you? Okay. Thank you all for waiting. So here's what I got. So for some reason, the Biden card came out, but upside down. And most of my cards usually are right side up because I put them that way. So I think that there may be, I don't know if he would make a comment in the news, but I think somehow it comes to Biden's attention. And I think he's just going to have a shaking my head moment like, what is that guy thinking? Because what are your constituents thinking? Why do you do things like this? I mean, divorced people? How many people? Yeah, I mean, that's just cuckoo. That is just cuckoo. But after that, then we're just going to go along business as usual. Everybody's just going to go about their business and not get this relief if they're divorced or LGBTQ, which is going to be a big portion of their population. And then the tower. And then something's going to hit. First, I don't know what. I can't even imagine what would cause this, but this came up right in the middle of all the cards. So definitely some big tower. Maybe it's somebody suing or bringing a lawsuit against Abbott personally for some of the other things that he's done, not necessarily this thing. And maybe Abbott is having to rethink his public image and his persona in general, or maybe this is threatening to take him out of office in some way. Because I do think eventually something's going to take him out of office. Next card is Justice. So that he's going either to jail or he's going to very, very in-depth court cases against him. And once that starts, he'll have the tower moment. He'll have some justice. And then boom, it's happening. It's just boom, 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 boom. So I think this case will get mixed in with all the other stuff that's going to get resolved. But I think you're not going to hear so much about this case, but I do think it'll get resolved. But I think it'll be overshadowed by all sorts of stuff hitting the fan about Abbott. I don't think Abbott's going to be having a good year. I think he's going to be having a very bad year. So I'm definitely going to look at his chart and see what's going on. Because I don't think this is going to be, it's not going to be a big party at Chuck E. Cheese for Mr. Abbott.
Well, I know, and I'm next door to him in Louisiana, so a lot of what his nonsense is bleeds over into us.
Yeah.
And for good and bad purposes. I mean, we get it sometimes from both directions. Okay, last question I've got. Rose Blue asked, will Texas governor and Texas lieutenant governor be gone by winter or spring of next year?
Oh, good question.
Let's see what we got. Yeah, Texas is under a lot of federal investigations right now.
Yeah, there's going to be some big stuff being decided in 2023. he's not going to be happy about it. It's not going to reflect well on him. Okay. My card's got a little bit mixed up there. All right, let's see. The lieutenant governor is likewise bad, I take it.
He's currently under like 4 or 5 indictments. And he's still running for office again.
Oh, God.
Boom, shockwave. You should be a moderator now.
You did that by going out to YouTube, right?
Yeah, I go in before the show and I'll open it up and then I'll do a pop-out chat on YouTube and just keep it off to the side. That way I don't have to open the window. It's just
nice.
the chat window that's open.
Oh, okay.
And then that way I can kind of keep my eye on, because there's a delay in the StreamYard chat from when they post it in the when they post it in the YouTube chat. Okay, this is what Shockwave is saying. And then okay, that was Rose that put that up. Oh, wow.
Oh, gosh. Oh, gosh. Okay.
Well, I got cards doing more than jumping. They literally flying across the room on me.
You got fairies and sprites in your house. They're moving things all over the place.
I'm telling you. I think that was the only one that flew out.
All right, I got my cards out, so I'll go.
Okay. All righty.
All right. These dudes, I don't have any really good timing cards. So, and the way I asked the question was, will these two be gone by 2024? And I think that they'll be gone. They'll probably be in jail. These two are not in a good way right now. They're not going to prevail in their lawsuits. They get the 5 of Wands here, or 5 of Wands. So they're sparring. They're trying to make a go of it. They're trying to ward off all of the legal things. But the sword of truth is coming down on him. And Kitty, if you hit that button one more time, I will kill you. I'll throw you off the table. I won't kill you. So I just got to put my hand up here. So the sword of truth is coming out. So I don't think they're going to prevail justice-wise. And again, I got the tower. Go away.
Wow.
Again, I got the tower. So not good for either one of them. And then I get temperance that, they're going to try after the tower hits, they're going to try to do some backpedaling and kind of move things around and act like, see, we cleaned it all up. But Wheel of Fortune is going to say, not all of it. Let's look, guys. Not all of it got cleaned up. So they're just getting what's coming to them. So all the things that people have been wishing, oh, can they please stop this? Can they please stop that? Yeah, it's all going to be stopped, but it's going to come at the behest of legal matters. And the guys will try to, I'm assuming the lieutenant governor is a guy. It may be a woman. I don't know. But they're going to try to clean this up on their own, but the courts will force them to actually clean it up. And so I think by 2024, I think they're going to be gone.
Oh, that was the
and I had one
thinking about.
I had one more card that jumped out. The Seven of Swords, because they're going to be caught stealing. So yeah, they're going to go to jail because they're stealing. So sorry, guys.
Well, I pull the Five of Cups. Regret.
Yeah, regrets. I've had a
A
few.
lot of regret.
Yep. Regret.
And some sudden travel plans. The Two of Wands. And they think that their little stunt, Queen of Pentacles, they think that's going to provide them with some quick money in the pocket.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then I've got the Five of Wands.
Yeah, that's the one I got too.
A lot of rivalry, a lot of conflict, a lot of disagreements, fighting, strife. Yeah, this is not going to be pretty for them.
No, because every step they keep making it worse. But
it's like Trump with his stuff. He just kept opening his mouth and saying things. It was like everything he said just dug him deeper in the hole.
Yeah. And I know that in Congress they just want to create chaos, and that makes sense at a federal level if they're trying to overtake the government. But on a state level, how does that work? I just don't get it. I don't get their strategy. I don't know if they have a strategy. It all just seems so stupid to me, and I just don't get it.
Well, it's like the states. I think it was Texas, and did Florida do it too? I don't know. They've actually got bills going before their Congress, their state Congress, denouncing, saying that Democrats have no voting rights, or there can't be any Democrats in their government offices, or I don't know, some kind of nonsense. I caught it, like I heard it on the news, but I was doing something else in the other room. I just caught bits and pieces of it. And
now that to me sounds like an ACLU issue. That sounds to me like a lawsuit that the ACLU would take up.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Most definitely.
Yeah. Wow.
Because you start talking hiring and stuff, and that's federal laws.
Right.
You can't discriminate against somebody because they're a different color or a different race or a different religion or a different gender. That's protected under federal law.
Yeah.
For any job you go for. So doesn't mean that they don't employ those methods in whatever way they think they can get away with. But yeah, that's you're talking about doing away with federal laws.
Yeah. I mean, unless it's a person like, a white man who's a Democrat, then any other Democrat could call upon their group that they're being discriminated against because of their group. For me, I'm a woman, right? I may be white, but I'm a woman, so that's a protected group, a gender. I mean, and like I'm saying, unless they're just a white man, they wouldn't have a protected group, but everybody else does. Every other Democrat does. So even if they don't pursue the case because of being, they can't discriminate because I'm a Democrat, that's not actually a protected group, I don't believe. A political group is not a protected group.
Yeah, I don't think so.
But like I said,
it's a conservative group.
What's that?
Unless it's a conservative group. And then they will do whatever they can to make it a protected group.
Yeah, but if they're just saying you can't hire people who are Democrats, then the only people who won't, really benefit from the suit are going to be white males, because every other person who's a Democrat is a part of some kind of protected group.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So I think it would be pretty easy for the ACLU to pursue this.
Yeah. That's what I mean. Yeah, it's when you're talking hiring procedures, that falls under federal laws. I mean, the state may have
Right.
specific addendums to it, but yeah, you're talking federal law will supersede state law in a situation like that.
And then after that case, we're going to go and have to edit and reprint all of those posters that they have hanging up in everybody's coffee room, so that people are protected. And what a mess! Why are
Oh
these
yeah.
people really doing this? This is just super nuts.
Well, and for people who don't, it's granted it's not our folks here because we're all pretty much sane. We just, we just throw tarot cards and predict things.
Yeah.
But we're sane. You know, I mean, it's hard to even express what I want to say. I mean, people ask, how did Hitler do what he was able to do? He started doing crap like this first.
Oh yeah, he built.
Get rid of this group, get rid of that group.
Years.
Make this one and others so that they're not looked at as humans.
Right. He worked on this a long time.
Oh yeah, this was decades in the making.
Decades
in the making.
And so was this. I mean, we started in this country with the Tea Party, probably before the Tea Party even. Just the civil rights has never been a reality in this country. It's been going on for a very long time. And just around the Tea Party, then they started to really coalesce specific groups that could be identified and used and weaponized to invoke a really fascistic kind of change in this country. So yeah, it's been like 30 years or something. I mean, they've been doing that stuff. It's been since I was a kid, so it's been 50 years since they've been doing stuff. So but with Texas, I think that they're gonna fail. I think Abbott and someone gave his name, Dan Patrick.
Yeah, that's their lieutenant governor. Yeah, I was thinking of their attorney general when I was talking about the indicted one.
Oh, okay.
That's their attorney general that's under 5 indictments currently.
You know what?
As attorney general.
He may be rolled up in this big case too, because he's culpable too.
Thing of it is I remember when Texas was blue. I lived there during that time.
Was it Ann Richards?
When Ann Richards was governor.
Yeah.
And things were rocking and rolling there. I mean, people were making money. There were jobs. There were, there was a lot of stuff going on that really grew the state and made it, basically what it is today as far as a lot of stuff. And then
on oil, a lot of oil companies.
Yeah, a lot of oil companies. You got a lot of that in there and whatnot, but it wasn't just them there and using up resources. They were paying into the state.
Yeah.
They were contributing to the state. So there were a lot of things that managed to, be blessed, I guess you could say, because of what they were able to do, what she was able to do as governor. She helped build up the educational systems. They were starting to go up. And then you got W that got elected. And that's when you first started getting that, well, people say, da, 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 da.
Yeah.
And that's when, he had Karl Rove and those jackasses that were working for him that, coming out with some of the just most asinine, out of this world comments about Ann Richards and her family and whatnot.
Yeah.
That just, they didn't know how to deal. I don't think anybody knew how to deal with it because nobody had gone to that level politically before. It just wasn't. I mean, maybe in some states they had, it just wasn't that well known. But so they treated it like a joke and just tried to ignore it.
But Texas has always thought of itself, I thought, as kind of its own country, like they can do.
Well, yeah. Texas has always had that prideful that prideful mindset of, we're the best and nobody's better than Texas and da 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 da. And it's like, no, not anymore. Or no, not ever really. I mean,
Yeah.
you have what you have because of the federal government. I mean, I'm at the point now where it's like, okay, Texas wants to secede from the country, become its own country. You're going to have to remove all the post offices because that's federal property. You're going to have to remove all the military bases because that's federal property.
Mhm.
You're going to have to remove all the VA offices and hospitals and clinics and whatnot because that's government. That's federal. That's not state.
Nobody has thought this through.
No,
Nobody.
they have not thought it through at all.
No.
You're going to have all your people are going to automatically lose their Social Security and their Medicare because that's federal. That's not
Yeah,
state.
that's right.
So unless Texas has several $1 trillion shoved up their oil pipe and not telling anybody to pay for all this stuff, who's going to bail you out when the next hurricane comes through?
Well, it's kind of like Harry and Meghan leaving the royal family. They really haven't thought it through. They probably want to be half in, half out. They're not thinking it through. Nobody sat down and done the math and really thought it through.
Yeah.
It is not even
they bailed, and then instead of keeping their opinions to themselves, whatever personal happened between you and your brother and your father and whatever, I don't care. That's your business, your family.
Yeah.
But if they'd have kept it to themselves and just said, we need some time, just the two of us to be with our children, we're stepping back, and just didn't burn that bridge, they would not be having the pushback that they're having today.
No.
But they had to go burn bridges in the process.
Yeah. And I don't think that their process that they're taking, I don't think that that's even serving the whole Trump agenda of destroying the government. I don't think it's even helping that. They're just being megalomaniacs. They just want to wield power and make money. It's like, wait, guys, Trump,
they opened Pandora's box and they don't know how to close it back up.
Yeah.
They've let the crazies out of the nut house.
Yep.
And locked the administrators and the doctors and nurses up in the.
Well, as they said in Jean-Paul Sartre, the inmates are running the asylum.
Yeah.
They're trying to run the asylum.
But that's just it. They don't know how to govern.
They have no interest in learning how to govern.
Exactly.
They're not.
They're a lot of hot air.
Yeah.
A lot of hot air. And they spend a lot of time. This is bad, that's bad, and it's all their fault. And well, a lot of the stuff is your fault because you were in power and you didn't do anything about it. Yeah. I mean, it's like some of them blaming Biden for something that happened in 2018 or 2019.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, okay, he wasn't even in any office in 2018 and 2019. He was a civilian at that point, retired at home with his family. He wasn't in the Senate. He wasn't vice president anymore. He wasn't president, but now things that happened during that time, suddenly it's his fault.
Yeah. Say, Rose Blue had a good comment. She said, that's why Texas became a state 1849. Can't secede, but can become 5 states. There's an idea. Split that sucker up. Split it up. Yeah.
That's it. I know they've been talking about doing it to California.
Yeah, that's a big one. If you ever watched what's that show? The Man in the Tower. Is that the name of the show? I don't
think I've seen that.
Oh, it's a good show. It's a kind of a dystopian look at the United States as if America had lost World War II.
Ooh.
What would the world be like? And it also deals with parallel timelines of that. So there's one timeline where they did win, and then there's one timeline where they didn't win. It's really a freaky show. It's great. So
wow, I'll have to check that out.
What is that on? I don't think it's HBO. I think it might just be on Netflix. The man, I think it's
I'll
called
look and see.
Man in the Tower. If I find out it's different, I'll email you. I'll let you know. But really interesting way of looking at things, because it, like Handmaid's Tale, it really puts a different spin on what's going on now in our country.
Yeah.
A really, really interesting spin. So yeah.
Exactly.
Well, girlfriend, we've been on here for 2 hours.
For 2 hours, I know. I was like, holy crap, man! I didn't even mean to keep you that long, but thank you for hanging with me.
It's not bad. I don't want you to use up all your StreamYard time, you know?
I'm not worried about that. I haven't been on that much this
okay.
month, so
Okay.
I've done several stuff, and it's been on other people's channels. So
Oh, okay. Well,
I'm kind of good to go.
everybody realize we're gonna be together, me and Shari, with Val and Cleo on March 17th. Friday night is St. Patrick's Day.
St. Patrick's Day night, yeah.
Yeah, and I got to tell
We're
you
gonna
guys,
have fun.
we are gonna have fun. But I got to tell you, although my name is Colleen, I don't really support St. Patrick's Day. I think it's a mean holiday.
Yeah, I just like to dress up.
Yeah, exactly. So you know,
Doesn't mean I support it. I just like to dress up. Hey, I live in Louisiana. We have Mardi Gras. You know?
Yeah, right. I know. So, but anybody who wants to come wearing green, that's fine with me. And wants to come, and you can be drunk. I don't care, whatever. But please,
I don't drink, so
please join us. Yeah.
Or if I do drink, I limit myself to one, because if I have two, the rest of the night's in the toilet. So, or hanging over the toilet, I should say.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hi, Teresa. Hugs to you too, my darling. Well, thank y'all for coming. Thank you, Colleen, for hanging out so long. This has been fun. Had a good time.
Yeah, really.
Didn't know it was going to run this long. Oh,
hey,
wow.
Kind of a nice
Time flies when you have fun. That's it.
Absolutely. Absolutely, my friend.
So Kitty Cat must have been telling you you've yacked long enough. I'm cutting you off.
You know, the last time when I actually removed her from the table, no resistance whatsoever. She's just like, yeah, I'm so bored. Just take me, you know. She's funny. She's a kitty. I say, you know.
My cat she's on the pillow. I don't know if you can see her. With her butt and she's not happy.
Yeah. My kitty, when she's just relaxed, people will say, what's she upset about? And I'm like, she just has resting bitch face. She just always looks like that.
She, like I said, she's turned into the Hellcat from the demon nether region.
Well, thank you so much, Shari. This is
You're more than welcome. You're more than welcome. You're welcome back anytime.
Yay! That's great.
I've got. Do you have anything coming up other than St. Patrick's Day?
I have Linda G is going to be on my channel on April 15th. So that's fun. Susan Lynn is going to be on my channel on.
Oh, I adore Susan.
Susan Lynn tomorrow. No, not tomorrow.
Cool.
No, next week, the Friday the 10th. Friday the 10th, it's going to be Susan Lynn, and then on the 17th is our St. Patrick's Day one. My monthly meditation is going to be on the 31st. I don't have anybody for the 24th. I got to book somebody for that day. And then Linda G is going to be on April 15th, but we don't have a time yet. Okay. So I got some open dates, so you'll be sure to be getting some emails from me.
Oh, I'm sure. Vice versa as well. I've got the Sisters of the Mystical Tarot. That's every Wednesday night.
Nice.
6:00 Central. It's me. It's Val. Dragonfly Crystals. It's Ivana. Heather from Indigo Jaguar. Allie from Heart and Soul. But Allie's going to be out for a few weeks because she's family stuff to deal with. There's Aries Tarot Girl, Aries Tarot Moon, Aries Girl Tarot Moon, something like that. Allison is her name. A real sweetie. And there's 7 of us. Jesus, who am I forgetting? I'm forgetting somebody. I'm sorry, whoever I forget. Heather, Val, Allie. Allie, me, Allison, Taya, isn't that terrible? You forget.
You're too busy.
Yeah, and I forget to write stuff down.
Well, it will be a nice surprise for whoever tunes
It'll
in.
be a nice surprise. There's 7 of us, but
Yes.
and then let's see. Next Sunday, the 12th, Juno is coming back.
Yay.
And from Juno's Sphere, everybody loved it. She did the Destiny cards.
Nice.
I don't know if you saw that, but that was a lot of fun. But we're going to go over some other stuff that she does, and then maybe do a few Destiny cards, like maybe like if you want to do your kids or your husband or your wife or something.
Cool. Cool. Very cool.
And then I don't have anything else to the end of the month, and that's not finalized yet. So,
oh, good. So I can email you with dates, and we'll do this again. That's good.
Yes, Fridays and the weekends are the best time for me because that's when I don't have to go to work. Well, Fridays I get home half a day, so that's nice. And
Fridays are good.
Great. Friday afternoons are great for me, or Friday night, either one.
Wonderful.
Yeah. So
I will definitely be reaching
give
out.
me a shout out. I'm your girl.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for coming. Thank you to the moderators for putting all the stuff in the chat and keeping links and websites and YouTube channels and all that. Makes a huge difference and helps us a lot. Please be sure you go to Colleen's channel and like, subscribe, and share. If you come back after the show's over and you leave a comment, even if it's nothing but a thumbs up or a smiley face, it helps the algorithm on the channel, helps push it out to be seen more. So, hi, Sylvia. We're saying goodbye now. You'll have to catch the rerun. So anyway, y'all have a great weekend. Thank you again, Colleen.
Love you.
Say goodbye.
Love you so much. Thank you so much for all your energy and love and light and everything that you give. I just appreciate it so much.
Well, thank you, ma'am. I can say the same right back at you. I love the astrology stuff because I look at my chart and go, I don't know what the hell that means.
Oh, we should do that. We should do that on a show. I could do your chart and do it on a show.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Do that. Email
Let's do that.
Stuff. Yeah, that'd be fun.
Awesome. All right. Well, I'm going to play my outro clip and we're going to say goodnight. Y'all have a great afternoon and a great weekend. Bye.
Bye.